Hello everyone, hope all are doing good. So in today's class or in today's session, I'll be dealing with the concept that is carboxylic acids. As per the syllabus, we have nomenclature of carboxylic acids, their preparation, the strength of carboxylic acids. We have different acids under carboxylic acid. So we'll be dealing with the strength and the comparison of strength between those carboxylic acids and the effect of substituents on the strength of aliphatic as well as aromatic acids. Then we shall be discussing regarding the formation of esters, acid chlorides, amides from the carboxylic acids. So let us start. So first we should know what are carboxylic acids. Carboxylic acids, as we know, they are the organic compound which contains a carboxyl group, which is a functional group. Here we can observe in the picture C double bond OOH. This is nothing but your functional group, that is carboxyl group, and which is in turn attached to a side group, that is R. R can be any alkyl as well as the aryl. Aryl in the sense it can be a cyclic ring or it can be a aromatic ring like your benzene. Carboxylic acids occur widely. Important examples include the amino acids and acetic acid. So how will you define carboxylic acids? They are a set of organic compounds which contain a carboxyl group as a functional group, and the general formula we have is RCOOH, where R is nothing but an alkyl group or it can be a aryl group. Under carboxylic acids, we have two categories. One is aliphatic carboxylic acid and the other is aromatic carboxylic acids. Aliphatic carboxylic acids are those carboxylic acids in which a carboxyl functional group is attached to a aliphatic chain. Hope you know what are aliphatic chain. They are the straight chain compounds or hydrocarbons. So if you find any carboxyl group attached to a straight chain hydrocarbon, then those compounds are referred as aliphatic carboxylic acids, and the examples we have acetic acid, propanoic acid, butanoic acid. So we have a lengthy set of examples. Coming to the aromatic carboxylic acids, they are reverse of the aliphatic. If a carboxyl functional group is in turn attached to a ring structure, the ring structure might be a plain cyclic ring or it can be a aromatic ring. So such compounds are referred as aromatic carboxylic acids, and example we have a best example, that is benzoic acid, where the carboxyl group is in turn attached to benzene ring. Well, coming to the most important part of this concept, that is nomenclature. I hope you people know some basic rules for naming any given compound. Or let me just brush up once. Here you have some examples of carboxylic acids. Formic acid, which is the common name, and methanoic acid is as per the IUPAC nomenclature. Acetic acid, that is your CH3COOH, the common name, and as per the IUPAC nomenclature, its name is ethanoic acid because you have two carbon atoms. Methanoic because you have only one carbon atom, and here you have pentanoic acid since the COOH group is in turn attached to an aliphatic chain which contains 5 carbon atoms. So let us go through some sets or some rules for naming carboxylic acids. First one, assign number 1 to carboxy carbon and number longest chain including 8. Second, replace ane ending of an alkane with oic acid ending because the functional group is carboxylic acid and the suffix what we use is oic acid. Number and name any other substituents. If you find any other substituents which is attached to the parent chain rather than the carboxyl group, then we have to number and name those substituents. Carboxylic acids have priority over any other functional group studied. Yes, for example, you have OH group along with carboxylic acid. So you have to give priority to the carboxyl group, that is COOH, then the priority should be given to the OH while numbering. Cyclic is used for the cycloalkane carboxylic acids and aromatic like benzoic acids. So here I have some set of examples. Let us discuss one by one so that it helps you to name the remaining compounds. First, here the name is 5-methyl-6-heptanoic acid. So first you have to pick a parent chain which contains largest number of carbon atoms. So let me start numbering, and you should remember, since it's a carboxylic acid, priority should be given to the carboxyl group, and the carbon that is found in the carboxyl group, that is COOH, that carbon should also be included in the numbering. So in this first set example, I'll start numbering from this carbon, okay, which is attached to OH and O. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have chosen the longest chain which contains 7 carbon atoms. So the root word is hept. Then, yeah, I know that numbering started from this carboxyl group. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At 5th position, you have a link that represents the presence of methyl group. Whenever you come across a stick-like structure, it indicates the presence of methyl group. So I have a methyl group at 5th position, and you can see a double bond lying between 6th and the 7th carbon. So that double bond first belongs to the 6th carbon. So here the name will be 5-methyl-6-heptanoic acid. Heptene because you have a double bond at 6th position of this compound, and hept because you have 7 carbon atom in the longest parent chain, and you have a methyl group at 5th position, and oic acid because the functional group is COOH. Coming to the second example. So as per the rules, first let us consider the longest parent chain, and you know the priority should be given to the carboxyl group, then to the other substituents. So obviously the numbering will start from right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the parent chain contains 5 carbon atoms, therefore the root word is pent, right? Yes. Then coming to the other substituent, yes, you have a methyl group. Please do remember, whenever you find a stick attached to any carbon, it indicates the presence of methyl group. So a methyl group is attached to the 3rd carbon from right side, and you have a double bond O. So double bond O indicates oxo, right? Yes, because it's the second functional group. It is not the main functional group. So you can't consider it as a ketone. It is a oxo group. So the name will be 3-methyl-4-oxo. You may have this confusion. Why can't it be 4-oxo 3-methyl? No, I have to go according to the alphabetical order. Please do remember, whenever you are writing the name of any given compound, numbering should be done in such a way that you choose a parent chain which contains maximum number of carbon atoms. Okay, then the main functional group should be given the first priority, then the other substituent should be given the priority. Then while writing, make sure that you are writing in the alphabetical order. You need not worry about the numbering. So here, according to the alphabetical order, you have 3-methyl-4-oxo-pentanoic acid. Pentane because you don't find any double bond in this compound. Coming to the third, yes, it is a example that comes under aromatic carboxylic because you see a aryl group, right? A ring structure. And here you have COH group, which is to the carbon, even bromine is attached. Now the question is, from where should I start numbering? Should it go clockwise or should it go anti-clockwise direction? You should remember the least sum rule whenever you are numbering. Whenever you see any compound, if it has got more than 2 substituents attached to that compound, the numbering should be done in such a way that the other substituents get the least numbering and the sum rule will be least. Let me consider both the directions, that is anti-clockwise as well as clockwise. If I go clockwise, yeah, bromine, since I have to start numbering from the carbon containing COOH, so bromine will get first numbering. So what if I go clockwise? So bromine is getting the first numbering, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 plus 5, the least number rule will be 6. Okay, what if I go anti-clockwise? If I go anti-clockwise, bromine do get the first numbering, fluorine will get the second numbering. So the least sum rule will be 2 plus 1, that is 3. So I should follow the numbering which gives the least sum rule. So the numbering will go anti-clockwise direction, and the name will be 1 bromo, 2 chloro. Yes, according to the alphabetical order, B comes, then your C comes. So 1 bromo, 2 chloro. And since you have a ring containing 5 carbon atoms, its name is cyclopentane. So the name is 1 bromo, 2 chloro, cyclopentane carboxylic acid. Okay. And the fourth example, aromatic carboxylic acid, where you have a benzene ring to which COOH as well as OH is attached. As I said here, OH is your second functional group and the priority should be given to the COOH group. So here the question is how to number it, whether in a clockwise direction or in an anti-clockwise direction. So let us consider both the ways. What if I consider the clockwise direction? If I go clockwise direction, the numbering, the least sum rule will be maximum, because 1 plus 6, you get around 7, which is not a least sum rule. If I go anti-clockwise, yes, I get 1 plus 2, that is 3. Yes, this is the least sum rule. So the numbering should be started in anti-clockwise direction, and you have a OH. So whenever OH is present as a second functional group, then it is named as hydroxy. In the absence of COOH, it comes under phenol, yes or no, but you have a COOH, which is the main functional group. So the name will be given as 2-hydroxy. And whenever you see COOH attached to any benzene ring, that is referred as benzoic acid. So the name is 2-hydroxy benzoic acid. Hope I have made this clear to you. Please concentrate on this IUPAC nomenclature. Very much important in terms of exams. Again, here have some set of examples. So let us go one by one quickly. First, 2-ethyl 4,4 dimethyl pentanoic acid. So the first rule says that you have to choose a parent chain which has got maximum number of carbon atoms, and priority should be given to that carbon which has carboxyl group. So here the carbon in this carboxyl group will be given the first priority. So the numbering will start from right to left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this is your longest parent chain which has got 5 carbon atoms. Therefore, the root word is pentanoic acid. Then coming to the other substituents, at the second position you have a ethyl group, and to the fourth position you have 2 methyl groups attached. So the naming will be 2-ethyl 4,4 dimethyl. Please don't forget this. You have 2 methyl groups attached at same carbon atom. So it should be named as di, right? 2-ethyl 4,4 dimethyl pentanoic acid. Then coming to this example, again, this chain can even be written in this sugar form, that is COOH, NH2H, HOH, CH3. This sugar is also referred as 309, where you'll study under carbohydrates, right? So the numbering will be starting from right side, since you have carboxyl group attached to this carbon. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have 4 carbon atoms in this parent chain. Therefore, the root word is butanoic acid. Then coming to the other substituents attached, at second group you have amine group, and to the third carbon you have a OH group. As I said before, if OH is present as a second substituent, it should be named as hydroxy. Therefore, the name is 2-amino 3-hydroxy butanoic acid. Okay, and this 2s3r isomer, this is of this isomeric form, so need not worry about this. Then this example, you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you have 4 carbon atom in this parent chain, right? So the root word is butanoic acid, and you have 2 substituents which are attached to that alpha and the beta position. Alpha is that carbon which is found next to the functional group, and beta is that alternate position which is found next to that carboxyl group. So at alpha position you have bromine group, and at beta position you have a methyl group. Therefore the nomenclature is 2-bromo 3-methyl butanoic acid, and in chemical it is also referred as alpha bromo isovaleric acid. Then the last example, cyclic ring. You have 2 COOH, so this comes under dicarboxylic acid. This is also referred as cis 1,3, because you have 2 carboxyl groups attached at one and the third carbon of this cyclohexane ring. So the name is cis 1,3 cyclohexane dicarboxylic acid. Please don't forget you have two carboxyl groups attached to this ring. So it is dicarboxylic acid, and this compound can also be referred as meta 1,3 cyclohexane dicarboxylic acid, because you have COH groups which are found meta to this first COOH group. Well, the next concept is, what is pKa in chemistry? Here, this pK is all about the strength of the acid. Whenever we talk about acids, we divide the acids into two sets. One is the strong acid and the other is weak acid. So, on what basis are we going to divide them into strong and weak? Obviously, depending on the solubility of those acids. If any acid dissolves or dissociates completely in water into a plus charged atom and a minus charged atom, then those acids can be considered to be the strong acids because they undergo 100% dissociation. If any acid dissociates partially, if it doesn't dissociate completely, or if it dissociates partially, then those acids are referred as weak acids. So pKa, it speaks about the strength of the acid, that is dissociation ability of the given acid. So pKa is the negative base logarithm of the acid dissociation constant, that is K subscript A of a solution, that can be written pK is equal to minus log base 10 Ka, where Ka is your dissociation constant of given acid. The lower the pKa value, the stronger the acid. The lesser the pKa value, the acid will be much stronger. So you have an example. Acetic acid as well as the lactic acid. Acetic acid, as you know, CH3COOH, it has got a pKa value of 4.8, while the lactic acid, which is found in the milk, it has got a pKa value of 3.8. So, yes, as per the statement, lower the value, stronger the acid. Lactic acid is stronger when compared to the acetic acid. And it's a general thing. We know that acetic acid is a weak acid because it doesn't dissociate completely into acetate as well as the H plus ions. And this is the scale. Sorry, here, this is pKa. The above scale is pKa and the below scale is Ka. That is dissociation constant. So, lesser the value, stronger the acids. Higher the value, weaker the acids. So key takeaways, that is important things to be remembered. The pK value is one method used to indicate the strength of any given acid. You can easily find the strength of the acid depending or based on the pK values. pK is a negative log of the acid dissociation constant or Ka value. A lower pK value indicates a stronger acid. That is, the lower value indicates the acid is completely dissociating in water, right? Yes. Stronger the acid, it dissociates completely in water. Well, acidity of carboxylic acids and derivatives. So here you have a carboxylic acid which is dissociating in water, and this reaction is in equilibrium. You have hydronium ion as a byproduct, and here you have a carboxylate ion. These two forms are the resonating forms where the negative charge keeps on dispersing over the entire structure, and this is the resonant resultant where you can see the disperse of negative charge between COO, right? So this is the stable form, and these two are the resonating forms of carboxylate ion. Carboxylic acid dissociates in water to form carboxylate ion and hydronium ion, as you have seen in this equation. The carboxylate ion formed is stabilized through resonance by effective delocalization of the negative charge. Here you can see this dashed line indicates the resonance, continuous resonance between carbon and two oxygen atoms. That is, negative charge keeps on resonating between these three atoms. Carboxylic acids are weaker than mineral acids. Mineral acids like HCl, HNO3, H2SO4, and phosphoric acids. Those acids are referred as mineral acids. Carboxylic acid is comparatively weaker than the mineral acids, but are strong among the organic compounds. Acidity of carboxylic acid is higher than alcohols and even phenols. In the next slide, I'll be discussing why the carboxylic acids are stronger when compared to alcohols and phenols. As discussed in this equation, carboxylate ion, the conjugate base of carboxylic acid, that is RCOO minus, which is considered to be the conjugate base of this carboxylic acid, is stabilized by two equivalent resonance structures in which the negative charge is effectively delocalized between two more electronegative oxygen atoms. I was discussing in the previous slide that carboxylic acids are weaker than the mineral acids, but are considered to be strong than the phenols as well as alcohols. The reason is here you can see this is the phenol, and whenever the phenol dissociates in water, it gives rise to conjugate base, that is phenoxide ion, where you can see the negative charge is solely present over oxygen. But in case of carboxylic acid, you can see the negative charge is spreading between carbon and two electronegative oxygen atoms. But in case of phenoxide ion, there is no such dispersion of negative charge within the molecule. The negative charge is only present over the oxygen, and this is the byproduct. So on the other hand, in case of phenols, negative charge is less effectively delocalized over only one oxygen atom and less electronegative carbon atom. Therefore, the carboxylate ion, where the negative charge are uniformly dispersed, has got higher stability when compared to the phenols, where the negative charge on the phenoxide ion is solely present on oxygen and not dispersed throughout the entire compound. Therefore, the carboxylic acids are more acidic when compared to the phenols. The simplest way to understand carboxyl groups is simply by understanding a fact that withdrawal of electrons leads to the increased acidity of carboxyl groups, whereas donation of an electron leads to the decrease of acidity in carboxyl groups. So I shall give an explanation on this statement in the coming slides. Hope you understood this, why phenol is poor with respect to the carboxylic acid. Well, next we have the effect of substituents on the strength of carboxylic acid. So we have two types of substituents. One, the electron withdrawing substituents, and the other electron donating substituents. So how exactly these substituents are going to affect the acidic strength of carboxylic acid? So go with, first we shall take up the effect of electron withdrawing substituent. An electron withdrawing group ensures effective delocalization of negative charge through resonance or inductive effect. Thus, electron withdrawing groups increase the stability of the conjugate base formed and hence the acidity of carboxylic acids. Thus, para-nitrobenzoic acid, where the pK value is 3.41, is more acidic than benzoic acid with a pK value of 4.19. We know that whenever you consider the electron withdrawing group, they are those which withdraw electron from the compound. Whenever the electron withdrawing groups, they withdraw electron from the compound, they create a positive charge over that compound, right? And this positive charge can be easily dispersed throughout the molecule. So, and we know that acids are those which have the tendency to grab the electrons, right? So now the compound which has lost its electrons to the electron withdrawing group is highly acidic. They have the tendency to grab more electron towards itself so that they can become more stable. Therefore, the electron withdrawing elements, they increase the strength of the carboxylic acid, that is acidic strength of the carboxylic acids. Therefore, the Para-nitrobenzoic acid, which contains nitro group, which is electron withdrawing group, is highly acidic when compared to the benzoic acid. Well, next we have the effect of electron donating substituent. Electron donating groups destabilizes the conjugate base formed and hence decreases the acidity of the carboxylic acids. Electron donating groups, like we have methyl group, which are good electron donors. They keep on donating the electron towards the carboxyl group, right? So now what happens? Now the compound, it's not in need of any electrons, therefore its acidity decreases, right? So the electron withdrawing groups, they increase the electron accepting tendency of the compound, therefore increasing the acidity of the compound. But electron donating groups, they are lowering the electron accepting tendency of the compound, therefore the acidity of the carboxylic acid decreases. You should remember, acids are those compounds which have the tendency to withdraw electron or accept electron towards themselves. But in case of electron donating group, they have enough of electron which is located on the compound, therefore the acidity lowers. Electron donating substituents increases the bond strength between oxygen and hydrogen in carboxylic group and hence disfavors the release of proton. So acidity decreases. Therefore, substituents which have plus I or plus R effect decreases the acidity. Plus I or plus R effect means those substituents which can donate electron towards the compound, that is your electron donors, like methyl alkyl groups. Where we have comparison between some set of acids over here. So first we shall go with acetic acid, CH3COOH. What's first? Formic acid, that is HCOOH. In case of acetic acid, the pKa value, that is the acid dissociation constant value, is 4.76. But in case of your formic acid, it is 3.75. The reason is that in case of your acetic acid, you have an alkyl group which acts as electron donating group, right? So it's not that easy for the acid group to remove H plus, to remove hydrogen as H plus, therefore the acidity of that compound lowers down. But in case of formic acid, that is HCOOH, it is very easy to remove H plus from COOH. Therefore, out of acetic acid and formic acid is considered stronger because the CH3 in acetic acid is electron donating. The CH3 actually contributes electron density towards the OH bond, making it harder to remove the H and making acetic acid a weaker acid than formic acid. Please remember the pK value. The pK value of acetic acid is 4.76, while the pK value of formic acid is 3.75. Don't get confused. Whenever you have any electron donating group attached to any compound, then make sure that the acidity is less because of the presence of electron donor groups, which will not allow the hydrogen to be removed as H plus, and the acidity will not increase. Whenever you have the electron withdrawing group attached to any compound, make sure that acidity will increase, because electron withdrawing, they will remove the electron and make sure that the acidity of that compound will increase. That is, the tendency of grabbing electron will increase. Well, next you have one problem here. The pK of benzoic acid is 4.19. Explain why aminobenzoic acid is a weaker acid than benzoic acid. Explain why para-nitrobenzoic acid is a stronger acid than benzoic acid. So you have to compare the 4-nitrobenzoic acid, that is nothing but your para-nitrobenzoic acid, and the aminobenzoic acid with benzoic acid, whose pK value is 4.19. So here you have nitro group in case of nitrobenzoic acid and amino group in case of your aminobenzoic acid. So it's understood that your nitro group is electron withdrawing group. So in the presence of electron withdrawing group, the acidity of that compound increases, right? And in case of electron donating group, the acidity of that compound decreases and strength also decreases. So let us go to the explanation. Yeah, para-nitrobenzoic versus benzoic acid. In case of para-nitrobenzoic acid, I can just simply say that nitrobenzoic acid is highly acidic than the benzoic acid. The reason is that because of minus I effect, that is electron withdrawing tendency of the nitro group attached to the benzoic acid. Since it withdraws electron toward itself and deactivates the benzene ring to electrophilic attack, that is electron attracting tendency. Therefore, carboxylic acid group easily releases H plus ion than the benzoic acid. But in case of benzoic acid, there is a resonance effect which stabilizes the carboxylic group, hence less release of H plus ion. So in case of para-nitrobenzoic acid, nitro group is an electron withdrawing group, which in turn increases the acidity of the carboxyl group or the benzoic group. Therefore, the acidity increases. But in case of benzoic acid, because of continuous resonance in that benzene ring, there is no much release of H plus ion. Therefore, the acidity decreases. Next, we have a comparison between para-aminobenzoic acid versus benzoic acid. As I said, amine group is electron donating group, so obviously the acidity will be less. Para-aminobenzoic acid is less acidic than benzoic acid because amino group has plus I effect, that is electron donating effect, due to which it contributes electron towards OH and therefore the release of H plus is lowered, right? And it also disfavors release of proton. Therefore, the acidity of para-aminobenzoic acid decreases when compared to the benzoic acid. So when you compare this, para-nitrobenzoic acid is highly acidic when compared to benzoic acid because of the presence of electron withdrawing group, which will in turn increase the acidity of this compound. But in case of 4-aminobenzoic acid, since we have amine group which is electron donating group, that is plus I effect or plus R effect, the acidity of this compound will reduce. Therefore, the acidic strength also reduces. Hope you understood this. Next, we have some of the reactions of carboxylic acids with some organic compounds. So first we have formation of esters, where your carboxylic acid reacts with alcohol to produce ester. So esters are produced when carboxylic acids are heated with alcohols in the presence of an acid catalyst. The catalyst is usually concentrated sulfuric acid. Dry hydrogen chloride gas is used in some cases. Some cases you can make use of dry hydrogen chloride as an option, but these tend to involve aromatic esters. If you want to produce any aliphatic esters, make sure that the catalyst should be sulfuric acid. But if you want to produce any aromatic esters, then you can make use of the hydrogen chloride gas, which helps in producing aromatic esters rather than the aliphatic esters. So this is your reaction. You have alcohol which is reacting in the presence of an acid, producing an ester and water molecule, right? Yes. Next, we have formation of acid chlorides. Carboxylic acid on reaction with thionate chloride, it produces acid chlorides. Okay. During the reaction, the hydroxyl group that is attached to the carboxylic acid is converted to a chlorosulfide intermediate, making it a better leaving group. I'm not discussing about this chlorosulfide intermediate because you don't have a mechanism. You simply have the reaction. So this is enough. The chloride ion produced during the reaction acts as a nucleophile. This is the reaction. Next, formation of amide. The carboxylic acid on reaction with any ammonium salt produces amide. The carboxylic acid is first converted into an ammonium salt, which then produces an amide on heating. And the entire reaction is the ammonium salt is formed by adding solid ammonium carbonate to an excess of the acid. To the carboxylic acid, I'm going to add excess of ammonium carbonate. You can take any compound which contains free or releasable ammonia. So ammonium carbonate, it has got ammonia which can be released by dissociation, which gets released into ammonia as well as carbonate ion. So the carboxylic acid on reaction with ammonium carbonate, it produces an ammonium salt. This is your ammonium salt, which on further heating releases amide. with producing water as a byproduct. So this amide is your ethanamide because you have two carbon atom, one the carbon attached to the OH group and the other carbon of the alkyl group. So this is about the today's session. Hope you have understood everything. If any queries or if any confusions, you can just drop a message in the group so that I can clarify. And I'll be taking such virtual classes from today. And in the next class, we shall discuss the remaining concepts. It is the reaction of derivatives of carboxylic acids and the mechanism. So take care. Please go through this video. Until then, take care. Bye.